Delivering his budget speech, former Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba announced that VAT will increase by 1%. This is the first time since 1993, and this move was heavily criticized. So, Anton, from a small business perspective, what does this mean?
Well, it's obviously not good news. It means that everything is going to get more expensive, in a nutshell. Not just because one has to now add an extra percentage onto VAT if you're VAT registered as an entrepreneur or a business.
Yes.
But more because obviously all your input costs are going to suffer from that same affliction,
Yeah.
and also be more expensive. And it kind of is going to ripple down through the chain. So in essence, if you're currently paying, 114 Rand for a particular component that you require to deliver your product or service, you're going to soon be paying 115 Rand, and so it goes. So, the short-term impact is going to be quite negative. It's definitely going to make it difficult on everyone's pockets. And I think we are going to see a little bit of a downturn in consumer confidence and consumer spending as a result.
Yeah.
But that said, it also presents certain opportunities. And my attitude is always, you can't fight against the tide, but you can certainly respond in a way that works for you.
Yes.
And when it comes to this issue of VAT, I suppose the most obvious thing to do would be for small businesses or entrepreneurs or businesses in general to just slightly increase their pricing to accommodate their more expensive input costs. My feeling is a little bit different. I would challenge entrepreneurs in particular, who by their nature are, able to adapt and sort of roll with the punches more than big companies are, to actually consider not raising their prices.
Okay.
How would what better way to stand out by saying, we're putting a freeze on our price. We're not going to let VAT, we're not going to follow the herd and just simply push our prices up because that's what everyone else is doing. Obviously, it means that you would then need to find ways of reducing your costs. So perhaps it's about looking at your suppliers, negotiating better deals, cutting unnecessary costs, getting rid of the DSTV at the offices, whatever, and bringing your costs down a little bit so that you're able to pass that saving on to your customer. Not because you necessarily feel sorry for your customer, although it is nice to be altruistic as an entrepreneur, and to be able to spread the love where you can, but more because it's going to give you a value proposition that most other people are not going to be able to claim.
I mean, you're talking about the short-term negative impact. So clearly there's a long-term impact which may be positive in your opinion. So I just want to pinpoint, for example, entrepreneurs who are producing consumer-focused products. So definitely those, when Treasury releases their list, which is soon, of zero-vetted goods, that will impact such entrepreneurs. So what do those do? Because you're mentioning freezing their prices or price increases. So what do they do if they go to the store, for example, they're making fat cooks and the like, so the flour prices have gone up because the VAT increase has been effected. What do they do?
I would do the same if I was them. I would try and reduce my input costs. I would try and keep my pricing the same, but I wouldn't keep it a secret. I would make it part of my marketing strategy. So, our fat cooks are VAT busters because we've decided to actually not pass on the increase in VAT to our customers or whatever product that might be. I know it sounds difficult because people are sitting there thinking, but I'm going to end up paying an extra % for everything that I do, including things like internet, etc., etc.
Production costs, basically.
Correct. If any of your service providers or your suppliers are VAT registered, you're going to pay more. It's that simple. And even if they're not VAT registered, you're still going to pay more because they're going to be paying more with their suppliers, and they're going to pass that on to you.
Yeah.
But just imagine being able to say, we're not raising our prices because VAT has gone up. We're going to keep our prices the same, and we'll commit to doing that until the end of the year. and making that part of your marketing strategy, part of your commitment to your customer, it's quite powerful. Yes, you will potentially lose a bit of revenue from a margin perspective, but I feel that from a volume perspective, you're going to gain more customers.
Yes.
And that's going to more than make up for it. And not only that, it gives you a chance to stand out from the crowd. And that's one thing that we as entrepreneurs constantly have to be trying to do.
So in terms of long-term effects, which you assume will be positive, what are those?
Look, I think that once the sort of, it's like anything else, you know, it's always terrible until you've done it for a while and then it becomes the norm.
Yeah.
And I think that this increase in VAT's going to be the same. Everyone's moaning and groaning, and there's all sorts of criticism being heaped, you know, on government for having raised it, and it's, you know, going to affect the poorest of the poor. And yes, maybe it will, but, you know, we're an adaptable nation. We've got through a lot worse in the past. We survived apartheid intact, relatively intact. And, you know, here we are now with a scenario where hopefully, fingers crossed, the money that is going to be extra raised as a result of VAT having increased is going to be put to good use to build this nation, to give people access to free education. You know, as long as the sort of delivery or the follow through is the same as the intent, I think that we as South Africans can more than sort of just accept that this is a necessary evil in the short term, but the ultimate long-term effects are going to be positive. They're going to result in a scenario where we have more educated people, a nation that's more capable of competing on the world stage. And if it requires short-term sacrifice and a slight increase, you know, we're going to suck it up and make it work. And I think that, again, as entrepreneurs, it presents opportunity, not just negativity.
Okay, just in closing, in the bigger scheme of things, it has been said that if VAT is increased, it's going to balance out the national purse or the treasury books in terms of revenue. So on the reverse, and in terms of entrepreneurs, because the president also mentioned that he's more focused on supporting entrepreneurs, do you think that will have an impact in terms of funding for entrepreneurs or SMMEs?
Look, one would like to think that it means that if there's more money available in the national fiscus, that there's more money to invest in that sector. And already President Ramaphosa has sort of put his cards on the table as far as that's concerned. He claims to be a big supporter of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
He claims that the government are going to be investing in it. You know, I've spoken before about tax breaks for small businesses and entrepreneurs, and here's a perfect opportunity to counteract the sort of negative increases in the budget that are going to affect our pockets by actually putting their money where their mouth is and giving entrepreneurs and small businesses, who are going to be the ones who create the jobs we need, a break. Let's see it happen. Let's hope it happens.